Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live. I am Adam, and this is Open Late. And tonight, I am opening up some Joy Toy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, full disclosure, if you didn't see the thumbnail previous, I did already open Donatello. So I did, a pre-recorded unboxing video for Donatello. But as I was opening him, what I realized was I really wanted to open the rest of them live because I wanted to just sort of play around with them and have fun with them. And so I kind of got one done and out there. And then that gave me, the chance to kind of just play around with these ones a little bit more and sort of worry less about, the format of it. Not that I'm really worried about that, but it just felt like, it might be a little bit more fun to do it this way. And I thought, if anybody's sort of watching and had any questions or anything like that, that it would be cool to be able to share those, because it's more fun to open toys with friends. So yeah, that was sort of the logic there. I also toyed with the idea of doing 4 individual videos, one for each turtle. But what I realized was, looking at these, there's a lot of parts reuse. The videos would be, if not identical, very, very similar. And so I just decided, I'm going to do one video for Donatello, and then I'll do one video for kind of the rest of them. And that way it sort of covers, the 2 formats that I kind of do for these videos, because I wanted to do it sort of a dedicated one to my favorite turtle, but I also wanted to do sort of just a fun, interactive, like insofar as these videos are interactive with you guys, but yeah, I kind of wanted to do both formats. So I just feel like I'm repeating myself over and over here. Anyways, so as I said, Donatello is out of the box. I got the other 3 to do. I'm going to start with Leonardo because he leads, and then do the other 2. But before I get into Leonardo, I'm going to just move all this stuff out of the way, all of Donnie's stuff out of the way, to make room for this a little bit of self-congratulations, self-promotion, both, I guess. Because it's cool to sort of have the product from your company on the cover of a magazine, but the work isn't done. I mean, we haven't even launched the Kickstarter yet, so there's no pressure added by this. But I like the Toy Collector did, like, there's like slime kind of oozing from the word zombie at the top there, and the figures look really, really good on the cover. So Space Zombies from Mars, if you don't know, is going to be a Kickstarter launching March 1st, and we got a bit of a spread here with some information about who we are and what we're doing, and some of the renders. And what's really, really cool is that also in this issue is a pretty lengthy interview with none other than Jason from Spiro Toys. So my boss, I guess, is the easiest way to describe that. Jason got this nice long interview, and it's like, pages, which is pretty cool. Anyways, enough about that. You didn't come here for that. You came here for turtles. So let's take a look at the turtles. I'm gonna bring Donatello back. I won't bring all the pile of accessories, all the hands and effects and stuff like that, but we'll kind of take a look at those again after. I'm gonna move these guys out of the way, just for now. Let me see if I can sort of get them so you can see who's who here. No, you know what? I'm gonna move him back, and then we'll move the other turtles sort of in there as we get them unboxed. Okay, so Leo is up first. But before I take a look at that, just going to say hello to you guys in the chat. Sam Rock is here. Gabrielle, no chewing. And then it appears there's other people not commenting. So hello to everybody. What's going on? Good to have you guys. First off, these are super fun. Donatello, as I said, I already opened, and he's pretty awesome. There's a whole lot of detail packed into this pretty small scale. I said in my other video that they're small, but they don't feel super small because they in hand they kind of feel size wise like they're vintage turtles. It's kind of weird and kind of hard to explain because they're slimmer and like scaled down more, but they're about the same height. Like the turtles are, I think 5-inch figures, but the vintage ones are like 5-inch figures, but they squat down, so they're roughly the same size. It's kind of weird, but these are really really cool. All right, let's just get into it. I'll just take a quick look at one box, and then I won't really mention, or I'll do all the boxes, and then I can sort of get it out of the way. So for Leo, I actually left the outside plastic wrapping on here. So I think this is sort of a way that they can sort of show that it's not a knockoff, maybe. But you can see Joy Toy is like printed all over here. Now that's just on this like plastic wrap. And when you take it off, it's gone. I already unwrapped those guys just for the sake of time. And then, yeah, nice big window box. You get a picture of each character down the bottom there. A nice big picture for each on the side. On the other side, you get the legalese, which is very often on the bottom, but on the bottom you just get a Ninja Nickelodeon logo. And then on the back, you get, what's weird is they're sold in a set, and I think you can only buy them in the set, whether that's from Joy Toy or anybody else. I got mine from eCollectibles, so if you still need some, they might still have them. But only one of them came with this label. The rest of them, don't have that big sticker over top of all the information, and it is just a sticker, like that's just stuck on there. But yeah, as far as that goes, it's kind of covering some of the stuff that's on there. Good thing it's Leonardo, the boring turtle, because if that was over the back of Donatello, I would have been probably contacting Joy Toy for a replacement or an alternate box. No, I wouldn't have. I would have just opened it. But as far as Joy Toy figures go, this is the only one that I've got. And I don't have a ton of Joy Toy figures, but I have a few. And this is the only one that I've gotten that has a big window cutout like this, which is interesting. And there's a lot more empty space in this box than, I think any Joy Toy figure that I've gotten so far. But, it does look good. I order everything online, so do I really need a shelf presence with the packaging? Not really, because I never see them until they show up in a brown box on my doorstep. But taking a look at these other two, again, you sort of get the same thing. You get the turtles on the side there. I think it's a little bit of a missed opportunity here. Maybe not, because I'm going to get rid of these packages anyway. But these could have done what like the NECA Last Ronin turtles do, where it kind of makes like a one sort of picture. I think Star Wars Black Series was doing that. I'm not 100% certain if they're doing it anymore. They changed their boxes recently, but they're all individual pictures, so they're not, they don't sort of carry over. There's not like an order to them or anything like that, which is fine. Again, like I said, I'm going to take them out of the boxes and display the figures and recycle the boxes probably. I'll just show the backs of these. I won't go over the whole box for these guys, but pretty similar on all of them. If you can imagine, what would be there if that sticker wasn't, you get sort of a posed, you get them on the skateboard, and then you get them with the sort of dynamic weapon motion. And Raphael is the same, skateboard posing, dynamic weapons, and then the pizza. I just realized that in the top corner it's the turtles with their slice of pizza, and their slices are different, which is kind of cool. All right, so that's the box. Real exciting. Let's see. Samrock says, I keep debating on these. I love Ninja Turtles, but they're just so small. I don't know how they would fit nicely in my collection. Yeah, it's kind of It's kind of tough. I mean, I'm not really much of a 118 collector. And these are 118, 4-inch scale. What do you want to, whatever you want to call it. But they feel really good, and I like them. I like this scale. I have been picking up, not all of, but some of the reissues. So I have, all the reissues of the Turtles and Splinter and Shredder and kind of the mains. Um, and then um, and then Super 7 Ultimates has actually been kind of my kind of go-to Turtles for the last little bit. I had that Mecha Leo from Heat Boys, but I sold it because it just didn't fit in my collection. So I totally understand, like, cool Turtles that don't fit in your collection. These are really, really cool though, and as I'm sort of getting more 118 stuff, more 4-inch stuff with Cyberzoic and some other Joy Toy stuff, and then like the Hammond collection is 118 scale. So there was sort of an opening, there was sort of a window for me with these. So I totally understand where you're coming from, Samrock. That's like a totally legit thing, because you kind of get in on these, and then if you're like, if you're kind of a hardcore Turtles guy, you're probably gonna want to get all of them, and you don't have anything in this scale, so it's not like you can have sort of certain characters stand in if you don't want one of the figures. That being said, like, these Turtles are really good. Like, I've only opened one, so maybe I'm jumping the shark a little bit, but I only ordered these. I didn't order Bebop and Rocksteady. I didn't order Shredder. I didn't order the Foot Soldier. Like, I didn't order anything. I wanted to get the Turtles and sort of decide. If I was basing, will I get more on Donatello alone? I think the answer is yes. And like, more specifically, that Krang looks amazing. I really, really want that Krang with the robot body. So, I think there's a very good chance that I'll probably get at least a couple more from this line. They're that good, I guess, is sort of the easy way to sort of say why. Thap is here. Good to have you, buddy. Solo Sinner as well. Good to have you. And Samrock says, I mainly collect vintage Playmates, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures, and a little bit of NECA TMNT figures and Super 7. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't say, like, oh, you need these, because, you've already got 3 turtle lines. You've probably got like 8 different versions of each of the 4 turtles. Do you need this one? I don't know. I wouldn't say anybody needs any toy, but are these a really, really cool version? And would I recommend these? Would I suggest to people to buy these? Yeah, I mean, they're pretty cool. But anyway, let me get one out of the box. Maybe that'll change your mind. Maybe you'll sort of see the figure and need it for yourself. Okay, so you get it out of the box, and you get the sort of clamshell there. Like I said, there's a lot of empty space. They could have stacked this. Everything is sort of in one tray, but I feel like they could have stacked it in the same way that like Super 7 Ultimates has done for figures that come with lots of accessories. The box feels big, but that's just in relation to other Joy Toy figures that I've gotten. The box doesn't feel that big when you compare it to some other stuff. But, whoop, sorry about that. One thing that they've done, and I'm actually kind of thankful for it, they didn't tape all 4 sides. They taped 2 sides. So I cut the tape on one side, and then you're in. You can get everything out. And you can get everything out pretty darn quick. I'm just going to dump it. And I lost a hand. But that's okay. I can see it. Silica back in there. Should I open all of them? I'll just open all of them and then sort of go over everything, I think. And I'll only show you one of these. if I can open it. All right, so you get you actually get two stands. You get this stand, which is just sort of a nice, flat, simple base that you can put your turtles on, and then you get this second stand, which is a raised kind of street dio sort of thing, foot peg on there, manhole cover with some bricks, textured. You know, there's some paints on there. Pretty cool. I don't know if they're all the same or not. They stand pretty well on their own. They don't even actually need them. This looks to be the same. Yeah, the paint apps are a little bit different, but it is the same. But they lock together. They got sort of a hook on each of them, and then a little slot on the bottom. So between the four of them, you know, you could build this little base, and I'll sort of build that as we go. Some of the Joy Toy production photos like show them on this base, posed on this base. I mean, if you've got a little turntable that you can put them on and you can put them on this base, that would kind of be a really cool way to display them. I think I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it's an odd way to do it, but I'm also thinking that the paint apps was not the way to go on this, because if you look, let me adjust the light here. If you look at the paint apps, there's way more wash on this one than there is on this. And you can sort of see the black wash around the outside there is really, really strong and bold on one. And it's like barely even there on the other. So they don't quite match. And the plastic doesn't even quite match. So it's a little inconsistent in that respect. So maybe I'm not going to put them together just yet. Maybe I'll have them. Maybe the other two will blend it a little bit better. But you get some cool stuff. You get a turtle communicator. I think from the looks of it, each of them comes with one of these. You get a slice of pizza, like I said, that's a little bit different for each of the figures. So Donatello just has a flat piece of pizza. Leo comes with a sort of droopy one. Did I say I was going to open all these and then go over all this? That kind of makes the more sense, doesn't it? Because then I can show you all the pizzas. They each come with a skateboard, so I'm not going to show the skateboard again. I'll just do it once. The wheels match the color of the turtle. It's kind of a hybrid between their little sewer surfer skateboards that had the big fan on the back and just a normal skateboard. So it's kind of interesting, but it's also kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of those skateboards. I kind of get what they were trying to do there. For hands, I think you get the same hands with all of them. So they come with fists out of the box. You also get, just a standard C grip hand, and then you get the C grip hand with the fingers split, sort of Raphael style, so that you can fit the side through there. I don't know why the other turtles would need that, other than it holds the pizza really well. It holds the pizza better than the standard C grip hand. And then you get a set of expressive open palmed hands as well. So a pretty decent selection for the hands. Most, that's pretty much everything you're going to need, I think. I'm going to try to keep these somewhat separated. Not that it makes that much difference. All the hands are the same. That's the other thing. And, I'll sort of... Well, I'll get around to that when I get to the nitpicks. I have two nitpicks about these, but they're nitpicks, not really real complaints. Yeah, I'm going to open the other two, and then I'll sort of come back to that, because I'll do the weapons and the sort of dynamic weapons for all of them at the same time, so you can see. That's kind of the only accessory that's really that different. So. Up next, we got Mikey. He's a party dude, if you're not familiar with him. Be a little more careful so I don't dump this out all over the floor. So stand, hands, skateboard. Just skip through all this stuff. Communicator, base, and then the rest, like I said, I'll go over the pizza and the weapons separately. There's Michelangelo. Looking all the party dude that he is. I just noticed one more cool thing that I hadn't noticed yet. But I'll sort of mention it later. Their shells are really, really cool. But there, as I said, there's a few things that once I have them all out, will kind of make it easier to kind of point out certain details. Huh. No tape. Interesting. No tape's not that interesting, is it? That's not interesting at all. All right. And we get base. We get hands. We get communicator. We get the other base. And there you go. So there's 4 bases. They are all the same. And I will take a look at those again in a moment. Did I say skateboard? You got a skateboard. They all got a skateboard. They all got the same hands. They all got the same base. They all got the same communicator. They got the same 2 bases. Actually, what's weird is these 3 are decently color matched, and then this one is the odd one out. So, I'm actually gonna put them all together. Let's see. Maybe I can kind of like hide one behind the other 2, or behind the other 3, and you won't notice. How are you supposed to put all 4 together? I realize it's like a bit of a... All right, so there it is. You can, I mean, I don't know if you can see it on video, but I can see that one of these is not painted the same as the other 3. And I guess I could probably, even with my skill set, I can probably add a little bit more black to the one that doesn't have hardly any black. And I'm spinning this just to see if you can sort of see the difference. Maybe you'll sort of see the shift, because maybe it's just, in certain angles or something like that, it'll catch. You can see, like, it's this one that doesn't have the same amount of paint. There's a lot more black on the other 3 than there is on the one. And I think there, yeah, when I do it at an angle, you can kind of see more of the black. But yeah, very, very cool. It's also, sort of the shape of a throwing star, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's it's different, but do I need it? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna put Donatello up there. Okay, and now that I've actually figured out how my camera works a little bit better, if you've watched other videos, you know that I've like struggled with this a little bit, but I can just zoom in. I don't know why I didn't sort of do this before. I don't even have to move the camera. I can just zoom in on everything. And for that reason, I'm actually going to get rid of the base because I'm going to use him as the reference point. Yeah, that'll probably do just fine. But yeah, there's the base. It's not that exciting. So I'm getting it out of the way. No Chewing says, for me, it's a decision of Joy Toy versus Medi for an additional TMNT line. I'm going for Medi. Is that the ones that kind of look like these ones, but they're the 6-inch scale, like a 12-inch scale? Because those look cool, but then it's like, they're priced kind of twice as much, and they take up twice as much space. So that was kind of what the decision came down to for me. I was like, these are cheaper. They're not cheap, but they're definitely cheaper than those ones. Samrock says, I'm also debating on those Mondo soft vinyl TMNT figures right now. Those look rad. But again, it's just like size and price. I could not pull the trigger as much as I wanted to. So let's hang out here for a bit. Absolutely. Gabrielle says those Mondo ones look like they would look amazing on display. Yeah, absolutely. I am, I buy everything with sort of play in mind because these are toys and I want them to be toys. So I always have an aversion to like price points, above like $50. Or thereabout. I realized that after I said that I've got lots of Super 7 Ultimates, they're usually 55, but Samrock says, from the pictures I've seen, the Mondo soft vinyl figures are very well made and look very cool. Yes. Solo Sinner says, does Mikey's license plate mean anything? I haven't even looked at it. RGT483. I don't know. Does anybody know if RGT483 means anything? It doesn't mean anything to me, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean something. All right, should we take a look at the turtles now that I got them out of the packaging, out of their clam shells? And Solo says, yeah, the odd one is totally obvious. Yeah. It is indeed. Okay, since I've already got Michelangelo in hand, let's take a look, and we'll take a look at each of them, and then I'll sort of point out a couple things that I noticed. There's a couple similarities, there's a couple differences between all of them, but that's the fun of them. So, starting with Michelangelo, who is my second favorite turtle. I see you there, Donatello. Michelangelo being my second favorite turtle. This is kind of cool. He's got like an old school iPod. Like that's like a Generation 1 iPod. It's like super thick. No headphones though. I'm kind of disappointed that he would. I assume that's an iPod. It would have been cool if he had headphones. I don't, where are his ears? I couldn't tell you. The sculpt on these is very, very nice. The paint apps are, for me, kind of like just the right amount. Maybe, 5 or 10% more than I typically would like. But to pull out the detail in this sculpt, I think it works. I don't like over the top. I don't like too many washes or sort of dry brushes or anything like that. So there's sort of just enough to, highlight some of the sculpt work, some of the detail work, the wraps on the wrist, the wraps on the ankles have a little bit of a black wash, which works because, otherwise it would just be white paint, and so they use that dry brush, or sorry, it looks like a wash pretty effectively. You got the belt with each of their initials on them. They've gone the route of, having the elbow pads and the knee pads match the headbands. They've also gone the route, of course, of, the 4 different colors rather than, 4 red ones. Everybody's going to have a preference. For me, the original cartoon and the original Playmates, that was my Ninja Turtles. I didn't know about the comic book until after. And I think I've told this story before, but if you haven't heard it, I was at a summer camp sort of a day camp. You know, it was just at the local high school, but you know, kids my age, and I couldn't tell you how old I was. I was probably like, you know, 7, 8 years old, maybe. I can't remember. So it's probably like 1988, give or take. And you know, I was at a summer camp, and you know, the kid that I'd kind of made friends with at the summer camp got hurt playing Red Rover, as you do when you're 8 years old at summer camp. And so one of the like counselors, who was just, you know, a teenage kid, if that, I don't know how old he would have been. In my mind, he was like 30, but I was 8. So he was probably like 15 years old. He probably got dropped off by his mom, just like I did. But anyways, that's not part of the story. It doesn't matter. You know, me and this buddy of mine, you know, we're just sort of hanging out inside because the kid kind of got like concussed or whatever. So they're like, well, we'll put you in like a little bit, we won't put you out in the sun. You can go somewhere a little bit cooler, a little bit darker. And this counselor kid was like, hey, you guys want to see something? And he pulled out a trade paperback of like the original Ninja Turtles. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was like volume 2, because there was like Triceratons in it. So that's, you know, a few issues into the comic book. And it was, the cartoon was already out. And I was like, whoa, is this like based on the cartoon? And he was like, no, the cartoon is based on this. And I was like, what? So you know, I like all the Turtles, but that was black and white. That wasn't even in color. So I didn't even quite realize. I think the cover of the book was even Triceratons, which is part of the reason that I love Triceratons to this day. But if they did a Joy Toy Triceraton, I'd probably buy that. But anyway, that's my crash course. That's the crash course of sort of how I got into Ninja Turtles. What was I saying? Oh, the colors. I like the different colors. I like the 4 different colors. That's my jam. You know, I'm of the age that the cartoon was sort of what inspired me to get into Turtles, and the toys as well. He's got some paint cans on his hip there, which is pretty cool. They all have unique designs in certain spots, but then there's like parts reuse across all of them that I didn't even realize when I ordered them. I only realized, you know, last night when I was looking at these. You know, a belt with some pouches. The belt is attached to sort of the lower yellow piece here, so it's kind of floating on top of the torso, and then the torso has an ab cut, or like a what's the diaphragm cut. So there's, you know, several pieces here. The movement on these is good. Single jointed elbow, which is a little bit inhibited by the elbow pad. Double jointed knees, but you've also got the strap from the knee pad back there. So, you know, I was struggling around with Donatello a little bit last night. 90 degree, a little over 90 is about as far as you're going to get that knee to go, at least with that knee pad on. You could probably cut those off if you didn't care. Or I realized you could just cut a little slit in there. I think you wouldn't have to cut it off, just cut a slit. I don't know how long that would last, but you know, you could sort of bypass those straps or sort of give yourself a little bit more room if you wanted to. But it's not terrible like that. You've got articulation at the ankle is a you know, rocker with a pin, so you get, you know, the forward and back, but you get nice rotation. So the ankle is like perfect. You wouldn't need any more articulation in the ankle. You could probably ask for a little bit more in some of the other, you know, joints, but that being said, at this scale, I think this is pretty darn good. I'm quite impressed with what you get. The head is on, I presume, a barbell, and I don't know if you can see in there or not. I can see in there. It's on a barbell. So you get the ability to look down pretty far, and he can look up decently far. Not great, but not bad when you sort of add some of the articulation in the torso. It's pretty good. So yeah, that's articulation. I'm not going to go over every turtle for articulation. But I will call out some details on the other guys, and then I'll sort of point out, you know, a couple of things I was going to point out. Detail wise, for Leo, you get these like thigh pad things. His belt has different pouches to Michelangelo's pouches. His strap has a buckle rather than an iPad, or Donatello has pouches. Donatello also has these. I'll go back to Donatello. Actually, I'll do the other guys, and then I'll go back to Donatello. This thigh pad is kind of in the way, and it won't let me straighten out the leg for some reason. There we go. Out of the box, I think this is, it's funny what figures are like out of the box, because Mythic Legions is one where, like, the first thing I do when I take a Mythic Legions figure out of the box is I rotate the hand and then I rotate the forearm, because they put them in the box with the elbows a funny way, and I hate how they look if you just sort of pose them like that out of the box. But anyways, that's, we're not talking Mythic Legions tonight. He's got a long, I didn't even talk about, well, I did show the back. Yeah, he's got that on his back. On Leo's back, I just realized that anyways, on Leo's back, he's got the sheath for the swords. I find it very interesting, and I think it's kind of clever that they've just like riveted, the design is such that like these are riveted on, it's not a strap, which in turn kind of allows for more of the articulation to kind of work. He's got a really long strap to his headband, whereas Mikey has a considerably shorter one. Donatello is sort of in Leonardo territory as far as the headband goes. Yeah. So that's Leo again. The boring one. Oh, this is something I noticed too. The articulation is good, but they kind of pop apart pretty easy. But they pop right back together again, so it's not really that big of a deal. I actually have my Donatello pop off. This part popped off of the torso. The chest popped off of the torso. So there is that to be sort of aware of. And if you're nitpicky about stuff, that might be the reason not to get these. I don't know. Let's see. Then you got Raph, and so he's got a couple other details. He's got these little throwing knives on his strap. He's got the sheaths for his sai on there. He's got more of these little throwing knives on his hip. So they each get sort of a unique hip accessory. They get a unique belt, and they get a unique part to the chest strap. Now they all have the same shoulder strap. It's molded on. The strap is molded on, and then I think the secondary piece is probably glued after the fact. So that's how they've sort of done that. The shell, I think the shell is like the same. I think they've probably molded one shell and then molded 4 unique pieces that sort of attach on there. So that's how they've sort of gotten around that. And then Raphael's got the long headband as well. So yeah, that's the 4 turtles. And I'm not gonna rearrange his arms as much as I want to. I can come back to that. But we'll take a quick look at Donatello. So as I said, he's got pouches on his thigh. He's got these little sacks, these little bags. I don't know what he'd be carrying in there. But then he's got pouches on his chest as well. He is unique because he comes with sort of an additional accessory. He comes with like a first aid kit, and then a little wrench. And then I've got his bow on his back, which, just like Leo, he's got his sort of riveted on his back. And his pizza slice, as I said, is pretty much flat. My camera is telling me that it's almost dead. So let me quickly try to plug it in after I knock everybody over. I think the cable will stretch. It might be on camera, but we'll see. Hold on. Oh, no, it won't stretch. Okay, let's make this quick. Or hope that my phone doesn't die. If my phone dies, thanks for being here. So what we'll do is we'll go over the accessories, and then that might be the end. We'll just see what I've got for battery life once we get there. All right, so pizza slices. Leo gets a soggy, droopy slice. Mikey gets a half-eaten slice. And Raph gets a gooey, stretched out cheese slice. It's they're painted in this like weird mucus yellow. If I got a pizza and it looked like that, I don't think I would eat it. If I'm being perfectly honest, it would. It's not an appealing color for your pizza, in my opinion. Weapon wise, you get what you expect. So Leo comes with 2 swords. Mikey comes with 2 nunchucks. They are pretty pliable. They come, one pre-bent pretty far, one, not as bent, but I think a little bit of heat. These might be the same. I don't know that they're like molded to be, one wider than the other. I think you could heat them up and sort of adjust that if you wanted to, or just leave them as is. Raph comes with his size, of course. They're all painted really, really well. They've done a good job. There's a little bit of wash on all the grips, and they're all painted, appropriately. Raph's sides are red. Mikey's nunchucks are orange. Leo's swords are blue. So, again, that might be something that you like. It might be something you dislike. I know some people prefer, for the straps to be, black or brown or whatever, and just sort of more generic and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to go in the reverse order for the dynamic ones. So all of them come with another set of weapons that has, kind of a dynamic sort of motion effect to them, done in a translucent blue, like a nice light blue, and they look really, really good. So of course, Raph comes with a size. Mikey comes with nunchucks that are spinning, which are very, very cool. You get 2 of them, which is appropriate. I hate when you get sort of one of these things and it doesn't quite, what are you going to do with one? They definitely look better when you get 2. Leo's blades look really, really cool. I will give it to Leo's swords. They might have sort of the coolest effect going for them. So yeah, those Donatello's is pretty rad too. His spinning bow staff, but it matches very much Michelangelo's spinning nunchucks. So very cool stuff. Very cool accessories. Articulation is good. Paint apps are great. My nitpicks are really nitpicks, and they're not huge criticisms. I'm not really complaining too much about these things, because these are kind of, one of them's a design choice, so you can't be like, oh, these turtles suck because of this thing that I want, that clearly whoever designed these chose not to do, which is that they're all for the same color of green. As somebody that loves the Playmates turtles and loves my Super 7 turtles, I like when they're 4 different shades. I like when you get 4 different shades of turtle, which is why it's a nitpick. It's the same as if I said, oh, all the pads should be brown. That's not like they're not bad because they're colored. It might just sort of influence an opinion one way or the other. Anyways, the other nitpick is that I wish they had an alternate head. You get angry Raph, you get sort of grinning Mike, you get stern-faced Leo, and you get kind of smug Donatello. I think those are probably the best choices if you're only doing one head. But if these guys get into a heated battle with Robot Krang, I don't think he's going to have the same expression. So that's my only reason that I would like an alternate head, because the diversity of their expressions here doesn't really lend for all of them to be in the same place at the same time doing the same activity. It seems a little bit odd to sort of have it set up in a way that they can't all be in battle and they can't all be like partying or having a good time or whatever. So Anyway, those are my nitpicks. All in all, though, really, really good, really, really strong offering. Joy Toy, Joy Toy's pretty clutch. Like they do a good job of what they do. If you like the scale and you like turtles, I like turtles, and so I like these figures. I'm still, you know, Justin Justin is asking, are you going all in on this line now? I still don't know. I mean, I got these and I love them. I'll get the Krang. I was looking at the other ones. It's hard to say what I'm going to say this. I won't be all in. I will definitely get more. But yeah, I don't know that I'll be all in, and I don't know how deep I would go. There's certain characters that I would get in any time I'm doing turtles. There's some characters that I would get. I would love like this design sort of aesthetic in a Mondo Gecko, because I just love Mondo Gecko. I've said probably that multiple times. I Krang looks fantastic. I would get Krang. I don't love that Shredder, which is weird. Bebop and Rocksteady look pretty solid. Splinter looks amazing. April looks good. Slash looks fantastic. I don't think I need Slash and Toka, so I'm kind of leaning more towards Slash. Again, mainly, I think Toka actually looks better, but I'm leaning more towards Slash because Slash, for me, is it like the that Playmate Slash was like one of my absolute favorite toys as a kid, and the Super 7 Slash is amazing too. So I'm kind of leaning towards that guy, but all in, I don't know. There's too much other good stuff to buy, and these are, in a weird way, like these are gonna go in a 1/18 sort of shelf slash display slash like play patterns with my Cyberzoic stuff, my other Joy Toy stuff, and all that kind of thing. So I don't know. Probably not. I'll buy a few more, but I don't need all of them. Brick, yes, he is. Mikey is rocking an old like version 1 iPod. And I said when I was looking at Mikey, I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get headphones. But yeah, it's like a thick old brick. I think it's like Gen 1 iPod, which I think, okay, as soon as I saw it, I thought that's a really cool nod to the fact that they live in a sewer and they get like cast-offs. So I could totally see him finding an iPod that had like fallen into the sewer and rocking whatever was on it, not even knowing how to like put more music on it or something like that. So I can't remember what a Gen 1 iPod would have had for capacity, but anyway, he's got lots of music on there. He'll be fine. Austin M says, just stop by to say hello. Hope you're doing well. Leo's got to be the best to buy since he's my favorite. Leo is the lamest turtle, is my opinion. They're all good figures, though. And Brick said they just look so damn good. Love the Krang, Toka, and Slash. Yes, they all look good, but like I said, I don't think I'm going to get all of them. Jeff Morris said, Joy Toy is great. I'm just too poor to buy them or go too deep. I totally get it. Austin says, well, that concludes my time in your stream. Leo's fine. He's just so Leo. My buddy's Customs. Good to have you, bud. He says, I know they are short, but can you stand a Motu Origins figure next to one for scaling? Yes, I can. But let me see what I can reach. Hold on. The Origins bin is like right behind me, so I can get one. Standing straight up, they're going to be short next to these guys. There's the Origins here. Trying to get them in the same shot, which is not that's easy stuff. Okay, so there they are standing next to each other. They're like their feet are on the ground next to each other. These are like 5.5. These are maybe 4. I think this is like 10 centimeters tall. So they're not close. What else can I stand them next to? Oh, you know what I can stand them next to? Hold on. Actually, this is the irrelevant one for me, not for most people, but that's the 4-inch scale from Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. So even compared to those, they're quite short. But that being said, actually, even compared to Joy Toy, and my phone might die, so I don't know. If I cut out, like I said, thanks for joining. Even compared to other Joy Toy, like that's a standard Joy Toy human, and they're short. Like they've intentionally made them small because the turtles are meant to be small. So anyway, okay, I'm more or less caught up on the chat. I'm at like 3% battery, so I'm living on the edge. Raypad says Raypad's after he jumps in with his first comment, says Leo is awesome, Austin. Don't take it personally. They're all awesome. So yes, I did talk about the articulation. And if you want the quick version, I also did a video of Donatello that I put out already, just as a separate kind of opening. Is it easy to get the weapons in their hands? Yes, it is quite easy to get the weapons in their hands. Here, let me grab a hand and let me grab a weapon. And I'm going to do this on the fly. And this is probably not the easiest way to do it, but yeah, it just pops right in. And the Joy Toy is really good. Like the hands are quite soft. The weapons are fairly soft, but still relatively stiff, if that makes sense. I'll find that hand later. I'm gonna wrap things up because, like I said, my phone's about to die. So, as I always say, it is great to have you guys. It's I did the video with Donatello, and then I as soon as I'd done that, I was intending to do all of them in the video, and I thought, nah, this will be way more fun if I do it with friends, because it's always more fun to open toys with friends. So thank you guys for being here. It's been fun. I wish I had a little bit more time. I wish I had a little bit more battery on the phone, but you know what? Such is life. We nearly made it to an hour, which is typically how long I go anyway. So if you're thinking about getting these, I would say they're worth getting. They're very, very good figures, well executed. eCollectibles has some still. That's where I got mine. I know that they're sold out a lot of places already. So yeah, if you want them, get them soon, because I think they're selling out most places fast. Until next time, bye-bye.